It's been about 7 months since your last anime review. How's it going?
Hey, Kyle. Do you think you could help me finish this review?
I've never been a big fan of the horror genre. When I was younger, the only thing that I did that was horror related was play Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, and even that game scared me. But for some unexplainable reason, I always seemed to be captivated by horror in some way or another. I remember a few years ago I had to make a commercial as an assignment at TAFE, and I decided to make it into a horror-themed commercial with zombies, despite the fact that I don't like zombies or horror in general. Well, I explained the idea to one of my lecturers. He told me that some people he knew hated horror, and then ended up enjoying making them. And maybe he was right. Because now I enjoy playing certain horror games, and although I've still only seen 2 horror films in my life, I don't really feel the urge to watch more because they don't really appeal to me. And that brings me to Corpse Party Tortured Souls, an anime I watched way back in 2015, and again just the other week in 2019. I actually remember really liking it when I first watched it, and it actually made me a little scared. But now that I'm older and more jaded, combined with the fact that I recently sat through the entirety of the Corpse Party video games, I figured I might as well give this a review for Halloween, considering I haven't posted a review in the last 7 bloody months. So let's jump into it. For me, the anime adaptation loses a lot of the spirit of what made the original game so great. A lot of the mystery is replaced with turning the story into a gore fest. Some of the more iconic scenes are replaced with either different characters showing up in different scenes. Like when Mayu is killed, Yui is there to witness it instead of Yoshiki and Ayumi, or are replaced with nothing. Watching this reminded me of the anime adaptation of Danganronpa, where the show just goes through the motions of the story, showing only some key events and having a similar conclusion happen at the end. Doing this erases just about all the actual character from the characters, which just makes it feel like the characters have read the script, and are just going through the plot of the story instead of living it. Most of the time, the characters just read an article and spout exposition to either themselves or amongst each other. Characters like Naho just become nothing but info dumps to give the main characters, and lacks that mystery surrounding her. Now, I can understand that adapting a 15+ hour game that's heavy on lore and character development into an OVA series that's only 4 episodes long can be a challenge. And that's the biggest problem. They weren't given enough of a runtime to explain and explore the world of Corpse Party. You have scenes that cut out moments where they find the tongue of a dead child and have to return it to them, which they then say, and in the next cut, they have all of them collected. The animation I didn't really have a problem with, except for that one time where Sachiko couldn't look scared to save her life. I like how they kept the art style from the PSP game instead of making it a completely new one. In some cases, I enjoyed the additions to certain scenes, like the scene where the original victims die as Ayumi experiences it. In the game, the whole time it's just a black screen with only audio, but in the anime, you see all of it. I can understand why they did it though, because you're supposed to be seeing it through the eyes of Ayumi, but since I'm watching a show and not playing the game, I liked the change to see the deaths. It made me feel horrified and I felt sad to see what happened to them. Though the reveal as to who the real killer is was handled a lot better in the game than the anime, where it just felt like they were rushing through it instead of letting the reveal sink in. As a quick side note, I loved the music in the game, and was happy to hear it when it was used in the anime. The music really nailed the atmosphere and set the tone of the game and even the show. The opening I never skipped, and enjoyed the tone it set as badder and badder things happened each episode. I'm always a sucker for songs that have choirs. I'm not 100% sure this needs to be brought up, but I'll say it anyway. One addition that they added was that there were a lot more panty shots in the anime than there were in the game. The game had some panty shots, sometimes, but they were pretty far between each other, and at a point I pretty much forgot about them as it went on. I'm not really the kind of guy who needs to play moral guardian and say that a show is bad because of panty shots, because the show's quality for me is determined by how well the story is written and how engaging the characters are. Not, oh, I saw a flash of panties, Dave ruined, worst show ever, how could these misogynists do this? But I digress. Now there is one improvement that the show does have, and that's shutting Ayumi's fucking mouth for 5 seconds. In the game she would cry at any given point, but in the anime, they just cut all that out. This does make her blander as a character, but at least this time I didn't have to listen to her whinge about everything, and I do mean everything. Walks down the hallway, cries. Finds out she's in an abandoned school where spirits of the dead wander and want you dead, cries. Joaquin Phoenix making faces at her on the bus, cries. Finds out she has a little blood on her skirt, goes around the corner, walks a few steps, and fucking cries. At least when Yuka cried, she had a good reason. Actually, now I'm confused. Was I reviewing the anime or the game? I don't even remember. I'm sorry, most of this review is me making comparisons to the game. So let's look at it like this. Does the anime stand on its own? Sort of, but not really. I say this because you could still watch it if you just wanted to watch some horror and not think about it too much. But on the other hand, you'll be missing out on the subtle nuances of the characters that make them interesting and make you want to see them survive, and pretty much give you a better experience overall. Wait, this whole time was that really all I had to say? Shit. So in conclusion, Corpse Party Tortured Souls is an awkwardly structured adaptation that doesn't really expand on the lore and characters that make Corpse Party an interesting horror story. And even though you could still watch it, I personally wouldn't recommend it. Hell, if you didn't want to sit through the entire game, you could read the manga version. I haven't read it yet, but maybe that was better. Anyway, thank you for watching everyone, happy Halloween, and I'll see you all when I see ya.
No, I'm good.